just because I'm kind of getting into it and enjoying it, and I'm actually making a fair bit of progress on these streams with my music. So today, what is happening is I'm working on this track over here. Oh, hang on a minute. What's going on there? That's not right. I'm working on this track over here, and hang on a minute. Let me just see. Anyway, I'm working on this track over here, and it's a problem child. Hey, Sasha. Yeah, it's a problem child. I'm into it, and I want to release it. So it's in my done column. But there's just something about it. It just gets a bit annoying. It just goes on and on and on and on. And I think what the problem is that it it started life as a part that I recorded. So I put the SH7 through an arpeggiator. It's this part here. I put the SH7, put it through an arpeggiator. An arpeggiator played the SH7, and then I added some kind of gated like string things over the top. And then it was like I didn't make enough decisions early on about what needed to happen where, and I just kind of went with like the kind of live thing that I was doing, which meant I think it might be too long for a start. And then because I was so close to it, I sort of was unwilling to make it shorter somehow. Anyway, I'm coming back to it now, and I'm going to see. I've made a list of things to do here. I'll play it to you in a second, but I've made a list of things to do here today. I might not get to that last one. That's from an earlier thing, but I've made a list of things to do here today to see if I can sort it out, because I kind of feel like it's basically almost there. It's just in its current form. It just gets a bit like, come on, shut up, if you like. Yes, this is Logic, John. If I was buying one for the first time and I hadn't used anything before, I would recommend Ableton over Logic, because it's more intuitive. Okay, and I really like Ableton. People often ask me, why do you prefer Logic? And I'm like, well, I don't actually prefer Logic. I'm just using it. So I use both. And if I was starting, I'd go for Ableton. Hello, Dimitri. And by the way, folks, with these live streams, if you're new to my live stream world, then you are free to ask as many questions as you want. Don't feel that you're interrupting me or anything like that, because I do make music outside of it, and really the main purposes of these live streams is to give you some value, to sort of get you thinking about music maybe differently, maybe in a more useful way, or even show you how not to do it. So please feel free to ask any questions you want at any point, and please, no lurkers. Just say hello, and I will respond. Hey, Dimitri, cheers from Russia, Krasnodar, Nebesa. Oh my goodness me! Now you're talking a long time ago. The Krasnodar and Nebesa club. Yes, I remember. I think. Wow, I think I played there a couple of times actually, maybe even more than a couple of times. Wow, how are you doing over there? Clarissa, no longer lurking. Excellent. So, yeah, if I was, by the way, John, so I'm looking at Ableton Live 10 Suite. If you're new to music making, I would start with not the suite and start with something that's smaller, okay? Because it's just loads of stuff, and you can always upgrade later. So just keep it simple, please. Otherwise, you're just going to end up descending down a rabbit hole of epic proportions. Okay, so like that would be my very strong recommendation, is to keep it simple and go with the maybe even the light version first. I mean, I know there's not much in there, but that is actually a good thing because there's a lot that you can get kind of confused by. Okay. Yeah. So John, I'm not like yeah, the Apollo Twin quad is great. I've got an Apollo Twin. As to is there a better recommendation? I mean, there's always there's 1,000 opinions. If that's what you're thinking about, it's great. You don't need to worry anymore. Yeah, it's really good. I think I've got the quad. I don't know. Anyway, the only thing I found with it is that because I got that thinking I was going to do most of the stuff in the DAW, and then I started buying hardware for various different reasons, and so now it hasn't got enough holes to go in for me. So I'm actually having to use another earlier audio interface, which I really don't like at all, which is the iConnect high connectivity thing. I'm having to use that as well, which is really not ideal until I can afford to splash out on an Apollo with more ins. But yeah, the UAD stuff is banging, absolutely banging. So yeah, don't always think about what's better, what's best, because like these things have ups and they have downs. You know, if you think something's good, go for that, but just keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple. So I don't know. I've never tried the RMA. I'm not going to get into a massively long gear chat here because to be honest with you, they're both good. Yeah, I'm sure they're both good. I know some people who swear by the RME. I know some people who swear by the UAD stuff. Just get what you could afford, and it works. I mean, it all works about 5 billion times better than anything before it. Yeah, so don't try and look for the best. I mean, don't be like going down rabbit holes forever. They're all good. Yeah. Exactly. James has got it in one. Let's focus on the music, not the tools. So, on that note, tools are tools. And a bagged workman will always blame his tools, as they say in the UK. Okay, so I'll just play you a bit of this, because as I said, it does go on. All right, keyboard. It depends. Again, it depends on how good a keyboard player you are. Yeah, if you play the piano, these are good. The SL88, yeah, because it's full and it's weighted. There are some annoying things about it, but they're good. It depends what you want. I mean, I'm a piano player and I'm making piano playing part of my thing, so I'm going for the. That's why I bought that. But it's not the best. I haven't got the best. I know I haven't got the best. It's just one that works, and I couldn't. To be honest with you, I couldn't be bothered to look any further. I just went right. Yeah, okay, I got it, and it works. That's it. So again, you seem to be looking for the best of everything, and just get something. Maybe go for something that fits for you. If you're not a piano player, then maybe you don't need a full size keyboard. So yeah, I'm going to stop answering gear questions now. I'm really the wrong person to be asking about gear. Trust me. Gate's going a bit nuts. Hang on a minute, what's going on? No worries, John. I'll tell you in a minute, Chris. So it kind of goes on like that, yeah, and then this other thing. It's like another. Basically, these two parts here are kind of good, and the gate isn't working very well for some reason. I've probably got the levels wrong on the gate, so the gate's meant to come in and out. I've got to sort that out. I'm not too worried about that. So this is one of the gated pads, and then this other one comes in over here. Again, the gate doesn't seem to be working so well. Anyway. Whoops. So, this is the kind of general idea, yeah? Right, so it's got a kind of, it just sort of goes, yeah, it's kind of quite, like that, bit sad, and I've got a specific story going on about this, which I won't go into now. But basically, I'm writing a bunch of tracks, and they're all telling this kind of ongoing story. These ones over here, the ones I'm working on at the moment, the ones that I've been procrastinating about. So, about the problem with this track, okay, so really the problem is that it just gets a bit boring. It just goes on. It doesn't really, it's a nice thing. It sort of puts you in a sort of state, but it's almost like it ends up being quite pointless because it doesn't really do very much. And and the tricky thing about it is that I don't want it to do lots in terms of there be lots of different things, because that's obviously something. If you want something to do something, then you do different things. But I like what it does, but at the same time, I don't want it to just not do anything. I want it to have a point, a purpose, a story, a shape, if you like. But also, I don't want it to do anything. I don't want it to do too much. Yeah, so it's not necessarily about adding loads and loads of different things, because I've tried that already. So Sasha is saying it needs maybe a major progression. And yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to do that. Because I don't want to do anything other than this, but I do want it to go somewhere, right? So I don't want to change anything about it, because that's kind of part of the story angle, if you like. So what I'm going to do is I've got a list of things here. So first of all, I mean, for one thing, it's probably too long. So what I want to do is I want to see because how I started this track was actually with this recording. Yeah, that does happen here at the end. Just kind of, it breaks down at the end. And that's what's going to happen already. But, even with that, hang on a minute, come on. Here we go. Let's do it this way. Get rid of that. And get rid of that as well. Okay. Because really, it's got, I think what the problem is that it's got a strong thing, which is obviously like the bass line and the beat. but it hasn't got much of a shape or contrast to it. And I need to be able to do that, and both of those, so that the oh, hang on a minute, what am I doing? I need everything to be pointing at the thing. Anything that I do new, it kind of wants to point at the thing, and I'll explain what that means soon. The reason I've made it smaller is because I can't seem to... Oh, I know why. There we go. That'll work. Right. So, we've got the original recording. Okay. View there, so okay, if I start that 10 minutes. Okay. I mean, that doesn't, I mean, I could probably just take that as the arrangement. Because I think what I've done is I've overextended it. Because I got all excited. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Eric. Oops. What am I? Oop. So is anybody else currently struggling with a track? Let's have a chat about that while I'm doing all this. Is anybody else struggling with a track? And I know that's probably a ridiculous question. No. None. Thus said virtually nobody. Although there are some people who aren't. Wish this would just... 100%. Okay, so what are you struggling with, Chris? What are you struggling with, Dimitri? It's pretty straight. What does that mean, Dimitri? What do you mean by it's pretty straight? The problem is with doing this is that this automation on the gate. This is what's this gate here and here. Yeah, I might have to record some more. I always add too much and then need to strip it back. Yeah, I mean, that's not actually necessarily a bad thing to do as long as you know that stripping it back is what you need to do. If that makes sense. Oh, I see. Nothing happens. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the best music that I know of anyway, not much happens, but it's still lots happens. And that's essentially the problem with this track. Is that not much happens and not much is happening. Whereas what I want it to be is not much happens, but it wants to sound like a lot's happening. If that makes sense. Alright, so I'm just going to go from the top here. Okay, so we'll keep watching this stream, and we're going to talk about a few things in relation to making things happen, like making things seem like they're happening when not much is happening. Okay. So I actually like the beginning of this. I think this was working. So where does that start? So maybe this is going to work. I might do a live automation on that volume, but anyway, not worry about it for now. Okay. I see. So what I did there. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Because obviously there are things that I've done that I did for a good reason. So that is that. Okay. So actually it's even shorter. Okay. So maybe this is working there. So I reckon the problem's coming here. In that case. Right. Cool. I just needed to check that, and I think I'm okay with it. So Chris saying I think I need to just step away from it so we can come back with fresh shoes. In the meantime, just work on sounds. Why not? In the meantime, just work on other tracks. So if we look in here, I'm working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks at the same time. Well, at the same time. I need 16 hands. But and also, you know, there's the splurging too. So you don't like why? And I guess unless you've got a mixing desk which is hardware, which you can't change. Which why not work on multiple tracks at the same time? Anyway, just a thought. So let's go here. Alright, yeah, we know what's going on. Come on. Ross! So Ross, how you doing? So Dimitri, is it all my track? Yes, these are all mine. so here's the album I released last year. Here's the music I'm working on now, right now, and here's all of the track. Each of these is a card. Each one of these cards is a track. Here's all of the ideas that I've started since I came back to making music in, I don't know, June 2018, something like that. Maybe a bit before that. Okay, so all of this is music, and a lot of this I won't ever work on. But this is the system that I use, which basically avoids what sounds like Chris is doing, which is pummeling a single track into submission before starting the next one. I will finish you. I am going to get you done now. Instead of doing that, we go, all right, I'm going to do a bit on this, and then we cycle around to the next one, and we do a bit on the next one, and then it goes like that. So, so yeah, we're going to talk about the hook, yeah, because a track like this doesn't really need a hook, although it does need a thing, and I think what it is the thing in this is actually this. Yeah, and I don't think every track needs a foreground thing. Yeah, and that's what I like about it. It's like to me anyway, it's like a conversation between these two parts here. Yeah, and this is kind of bubbling on underneath. But what the problem is that not enough is pointing at the thing, which is really this part. It's not enough about the thing. Where is it? This one. Yeah, it's like you kind of get unfocused from that because of the other stuff that happens on the top. John, how long do I leave the release there? Forever. Well, no, I mean, I don't need to get rid of them. I mean, they've been released. I haven't really thought about it. It's not weighing on my mind, Jonathan. It's not weighing on my mind. Oh no, I don't know how long to leave these cards here. This is something that is very, very bothersome. I mean, at the end of the day, they've been released and they're just sitting there. I mean, maybe one day I'll make another column called Released 5 years ago. And then maybe another day I'll make another column called Released 10 years ago. Maybe I'll automate it in Trello so that automatically happens 5 years after I move them into that column. Who knows? Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it? Basically. Yeah, I mean, once it's in released, it's in released. So, I mean, it could, I guess, I could put it into release and then I could automate it to go into a released board as well. I could do that. But I kind of like the fact that I've got this long list. I mean, to be fair, it would be a lot more impressive if I'd have said if this was full as that, but it's not just yet. But it will be. It will be. So, anyway, coming back to the problem in question. So what I really think I need to do, so that I've kind of figured that I don't need to do that yet. I think what I need to do is try and add some percussion bits that actually hooky percussion bits that point to the thing. Okay, now some kind of answering phrase type stuff. And I think this might fulfill the function that James quite rightly pointed out, that there's something kind of foreground that's missing, and it's not exactly. I don't think it's that there's something missing exactly, although I'm about to put something in, but it's not that there's like a hook. It's that it's I haven't made it. What is there enough about this? Okay, now this is going to take. I can guarantee that this is going to take a bit of faffing about, and I probably won't get it first time. But I'm just going to splurge some stuff. Okay. And I'm going to start just with the customary, my customary anyway, 808. I mean, the problem with this part is that there aren't any gaps in it. Yeah, it goes on, which makes it slightly more challenging to write answering phrase type parts. I was listening to a Brethren track yesterday, and there's a drum and bass thing, and it's got a boo 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 boo, yeah, and it's got a gap in it, which actually makes it kind of simpler to like write those little catchy answering phrase percussion parts around it. But this just goes on, and that's the good thing about it. Yeah, it doesn't stop. It rolls on, so it can be a little bit more difficult. can be a little bit more difficult to actually find. Because if we listen to the meter, oh dear, the meter of this bass line, yeah. Calm down, calm down. In fact, it might be better to do it over an earlier version. But what I might actually do is use the more jump up version of the beat. Oh, hang on. 49. 49. Okay. In fact, I'll use both. And what was I saying? Yeah, so if we listen to the meter, I don't know if the meter's the right word, but where it kind of, where you feel the beat, yeah, of the drum. And let's start it at the beginning. Of course, the beat comes in that weird bar, which is good. Right. Can you feel that? It's like it goes on. So that's kind of an answering phrase in itself. Yeah. Why do I keep on muting these pads and they just will not shut up? Diva, go to your room immediately. Automation. There you go. You will not defeat me, Diva. I love you dearly, but you will not defeat me. Right. That's right. So we're listening to the meter, okay? So it's going on, off, on. Well, except that's a bit more across the bar, so that's different again. So on, Why don't I just play something like that? In fact, rather than singing it. I mean, it can sound a bit ridiculous, right? But I'm just doing it so I can get the meter in my head. So this is just a guide part. James is asking, the thing is the synth line. In this piece, I have decided that the thing is this kind of bass part. It's kind of the SH7 bass synth with the beat. Really, that's the thing. So yeah, so I'm just going to play in this guide. I'm going to call it meter, even though it might not be meter. I'll have to look that up. Yeah. Because I think if I can, where's the clap gone? Hello, clap. Where have you gone? What? Clap is hiding. Right. Have I got this in a weird setting without a clap? Oh, Roland Cloud, I love you, but why do you always do this to me? Now, I'm pretty sure that my passwords aren't going to be shown to everybody. So whole internet now. Yeah, no, I know they're not. No, the trouble is I don't know which one. They've just done a thing where they've changed it. So is it gonna work? Yes! Boom! Take that, Roland Cloud, and your annoying authorization situation. God, you never used to have to I never used to have to authorize my 909. What's all that about? So I seem to have lost the clap, which is very strange. Maybe there's a setting. Oh, here we are. It's on the maraca. There we go. So this is going to sound a bit ridiculous because I'm doing the meter. This isn't, in fact, maybe a clap isn't the best thing to do. There we go, we're in. That'll do. I didn't get that second one. Let's try that again. Need to be a bit louder too. Alright. That's loud. Oh my goodness me. Right, let's go. Okay, what was I doing? Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. So it's basically like this. So it's just two. Yeah, it goes. It lands on the on the one there, and then on the up for those two bars. Then it goes back to the one there. So that's basically what I was referring to. So I'm not going to keep that. The only reason I put that in is just to highlight to my slow brain to kind of bear that in mind when I do play in whatever I'm going to play in. So yes, I've had these conversations about like, why do you use Logic? You wouldn't have these problems enabled to. And yeah, I use both. You know, they're good at different things, and they all have annoying things about them too. So. Wow. Okay, so you hear the little thing at the end of the bass line here where it's going ga-da-da-da-da. Yeah, I'm thinking that could be a little thing that I do. Okay. Again, I'm not worried about the actual sounds. I'm more thinking about the little rhythmic motif, right? Ah, there it is. Terribly played. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to play. I'm not going to record. I'll get freaked out. What's going on there? Weird. What on earth happened there? Sounded like two things were playing. Hang on a minute. That's not right. Sounds like the release is going on or something. I don't think I did that. So look. Why is that doing that? Apologies for the booming upstairs. I can't, unfortunately, because I'm plugging into a different sound card. I can't put a bass cut on my mic. Before anybody mentions it in the comments, don't forget to put a bass cut on your mic. Mike. Yes, I haven't forgotten. It's just I can't in my current setup. Otherwise, you'll all be hearing my my music without any bass in it, and then you'll be like, "Oh, but all your music's not bassy enough." So, why is that sounding doubled? Any ideas? Let's listen to the original sample. How do you listen to the original sample? How do you listen to the original sample? Come on. Output. Why is this not obvious? Maybe it is, and I'm just being a fool. That's probably more likely, actually. Oh, no, I don't want to reverse it. No, what have I done? No. Is undo going to work? Is that it? That. If I know. Now it looks like it is. I know what. There we go. I'm just going to worry about that later. John, no, the ideas column is not a bin either. It's for so the ideas column is just for ideas you have in the street, or like, you know, if you just play a random, do an improvisation on the piano or something like that. So it's not a splurge because you're not really creating the start, the start of a tune exactly. Say you go, oh yeah, no, I've got a good melody, and you record it into your voice memos, and you go, yeah. Well, then you'd put that in ideas. It's not anything else. Shy. That's a good question. I don't believe I do. Hang on, let's see if it's something to do with this. I'm not sending it anywhere. Is it something to do with that? I'm absolutely sure that never used to do that. Maybe there's an effect on it. Nope. I don't know. Now's when I wish I'd have bounced it out as it was before. Anyway, I'm just going to worry about that later. Yes, according to me. I don't know who else it would be according to, Shy. According to Father Christmas, a splurge is according to me, yeah, even like a kind of could be a splurge, but a splurge is what comes out when you're splurging. If I'm like on a bus and I just have an idea come into my head and I just try and get down the idea that's just come to me, or like I suddenly go, oh, I know a really good name for a track, or I suddenly go, oh, hang on a minute, what would be really cool is if I took that kind of influence from over here and put it together with here. None of those things are you splurging. They're you having an idea, which is a different thing. So it could well be, but I'm not going to worry about it too much now because I've wasted too much time on it. I'm just going to deal with it. So I mean, that one's fine, so it's got to be something to do with the sample, right? Anyway. Alright, what was I doing? That's a good idea. Ah! You found it, Dimitri. Well done. Obviously. Big prize for Dimitri. Everybody, give me a like for Dimitri. Thumbs up. Okay. There you go. Right. How obvious was that as well? God, sometimes. Anyway. Yep. Okay. I think that might work. Oops. This answering phrase stuff, this kind of answering stuff usually takes me a while to get my head around. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, right. I'm going to go with that first bit there. And what I might actually do, like later, is I'm quantizing all this and I'm just figuring out. So this is almost like the compositional bit. And then once I kind of get it to where I want it to be in a future session, I'll probably try and actually play it once I know what it is I'm trying to play, so that it's not all quantized and on the grid. Alright, so we've got that thing going there. Yeah, okay. Where are we? 6:41. That's okay. Double. Can you see my spinning wheel of doom? No, you can't. There we go. I did spinning wheel of doom then. Spinning wheel of doom. Spinning wheel of doom. Right. It's gone away though. And that kind of thing. You know, do you know what I think? I don't think enough people use the 909 hat as kind of like a different kind of a snare. Not really a snare, but kind of a snare-y type thing. I really like it when... yeah. Hello, Dry. And hello, Matthew. Oh, I forgot to delete that, didn't I? It's you. You ghost part. Let's just try it. Yeah. Okay. But that shouldn't have done that. What on earth? We might need Dimitri's help again here. Dimitri, what's going on? I'm just going to not worry about it. I'm going to get rid of this darned thing and go like this. Boom. See you later. Shush. Okay, so Dry says, do you have any stories in your mind when you create music? What a great question. There's a very recent Q&A video on YouTube with Anthony Rother where he talks about how he imagines stories and writes a soundtrack for that. Well, now, Dry, funny you should say that. Because, let me go over to this. Yes, that's the short answer. So this track here, these two here, so this is the first episode of the story. These are the next two episodes of the story, and this isn't an episode of the story, but I'm not quite sure it comes yet. So all of these pieces are a part of a particular story. So yes, absolutely. I mean, I haven't always done that, but I am at this point. So this one that I'm doing right now is telling is a particular kind of episode of the story I'm telling. So, and I mean, what's interesting about the storyness to it is that you don't necessarily have to. I think one of the mistakes that people make. Let's go to the front for this. Hang on a minute. Nope, that won't work. So one of the mistakes. Yeah, one of the mistakes that people make, I'm not talking about writing to picture here, okay? Because I haven't done very much of that. Done the odd TV ad here and there, but I couldn't stand it to be honest. So, but that was less about writing to picture and more about. I'm not going to go into why I couldn't stand it actually, because I'm going to start being negative and horrible. But anyway, so. I think if you're writing to a story in your head, then I think one of the mistakes that people make, and one of the mistakes I've tried to make, is you get obsessed with the story in your head and you try and write to that in each individual moment. So you sit down and say, right, now I'm going to write about eating a plate of baked beans, and then you try and it's a very tricky thing to do. The way I've approached this is that I've actually written a story, and I've it's kind of it's a story. I won't go into it, but basically it's a story of this kind of thing that pops into being and gets chased around various different universes by various different things, and and essentially I have written the story, and at the same time I'm just splurging loads of music out all the time, and I know the kind of things that happen in this story, and I'm like, oh, hang on, that idea right there is really good for this bit of the story, and out of my splurging are coming like themes, like little motifs and themes and melodies, which kind of are almost being like, well, this is this character's melody, but I'm not. Right now I need to write the melody for the gatekeepers. Right, I'm not doing that. I'm just writing and then applying the music to the story that I've got in my head. And the great thing about that is that you don't get, oh, it's story. Oh no, that doesn't sound sad enough. No, that doesn't sound slightly embarrassed enough. No, that isn't the color of grass. You don't get like that. You're still just creating, but by overlaying the story on top, then that gives you a direction for your music. Yeah. So if you like, the story and the music are in conversation with each other, and it's a back and forth, and you're being quite free with how they do that. Okay, so so I'm not getting as you will also notice on my live streams, by the way, I'm not getting very far very fast because I'm doing a lot of talking, but that's kind of part of it. It's really what I've realized, what live streaming is great for is interacting and helping people and being in a conversation with people about music, and almost like using the making of my music to start a conversation, if you like, and to help people really. And just so you know, I'm not this slow usually when I'm not talking to people. So just so you know. Anyway, so coming back to this. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think I might make this meter guide a 909 because I've got a feeling this could actually be a nice little part that you don't hear, but that gives you a little bit of forward momentum. I wouldn't mind that written on my gravestone, actually. Matthew, R.I.P. Mike Monday, understandable and hilarious. I'm glad they're understandable. Now I've got some kind of phasing going on. Why is that? What have I done now? And a great haircut. Yes. Luke. Hello, Luke, by the way. Luke's one of my masterminders. Fantastic music. Go and check his music out, actually. Bells and Robes on Spotify. Anyway, so Luke used to have long hair, and then he did a single white female on me and decided to cut it all off because he wanted to be like me. Isn't that right, Luke? There's something phasing now, and I don't know what it is, and it's very, very frustrating. I'm just going to ignore all phasing and things like that. Have I done something weird in here? Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2, 1, 2. No, I haven't. Okay. I can hear a naughty little Tom in there. Naughty. Yes. You go back to your room. And another one. Hiding in there. Let's go for the sea. What the heck? Let's splash out with a bit of the old sea. Although that changed the thing. Let's have a listen. Maybe it's a bit quiet now. Maybe a bit too. Actually, I'm going to do a bit of it. Oh no, that is never going to happen, Luke. Start a stand-up comedy career. I'm literally the most frightening thing I could imagine ever doing, and probably I'd be one of the worst people to do that. Yeah. Okay, what's happening here, just so you know, is that I'm just really putting parts in without worrying too much about what they are exactly. Okay, and in order to create some kind of conversation in the rhythm, so the sounds might not be right, the parts might not be exactly right. What often happens when I do this kind of thing is I end up putting too much in. So this is, for instance, what James was talking about. I end up putting too much in and taking it out. This is definitely a time when I tend to just put a lot in and kind of create the tapestry out of what I put in without worrying about it too much. So, you know, by the end of this session, this isn't going to be right. This is just going to be like a bunch of ideas. Yeah. So I just want you to bear that in mind. Let's go for another 808. What else we got? Dare I go for the 808 cowbell? Probably not. I'm not sure it would. I don't want it to be too characterful, I feel. Oh, I know what's going on. I've figured out what's going on. I think. Have I? We'll find out, won't we? No, that's not what's going on. I was wrong. I thought maybe the pattern was playing. Dear Roland Cloud, please can you make it a default that the pattern isn't playing on your drum machines? If anybody from Roland is watching. We need more cowbell. Always more cowbell. Actually, that is a good point. It's a very good point. Let's see if we can find some cowbells. Output. I wonder if there must be. There must be. Oh, no need to update, but I'm going to do that now. Let's just see what it is. They've got to have a thing called more cowbell. Oh, they all do. 70s? Maybe. No. Actually, I'm not going to worry about finding actually a cowbell. No. No, maybe it's just the right thing, actually. How about this? I could do that. Or I could do this. Let's do this. I can't remember if there were. Where are we? Polyplex. Percussion. There we go. Yeah, I thought they'd have a pack too. It seems a bit of an oversight on Output's part not to have a line called more cowbell. Wouldn't you say? I would have thought so anyway. Have they only got toms? Seems a bit weird. Let's try it. No. Come on there. Ooh, blimey. Oh, that's a little bit rude, isn't it? Ooh, ow! Ooh! Ah! Ah! Rim snaps, how about that? I thought that it had different sounds. Maybe this one will do it. Can't remember really. I don't tend to use a lot of other percussion, so this is a at the moment. I haven't for a while, so this is a new thing for me. I mean, when I say I don't tend to, I haven't for a while. I haven't this time I started making music because I gave up for 8 years. So I'm just trying to think of a way of doing it that would make me happy. Oh, I'll just use battery. God. Boring. Feels like a cop out, but anyway, I'm going to cop out because I need to get moving. Yeah, so like I'm definitely into experimenting with things, but right now I've really got to move this track forward, otherwise I'm going to end up going down a massive rabbit hole. So I just need to go, and I know I'm not going very quickly right now. I wonder if there's a cowbell set. No. So I'm not going to go into experimentation mode because I'm at the point where it's not where I want to be experimenting. I kind of do that earlier in the process. Apnea, what's that like? I think one of the biggest problems that a lot of people have is that they forget what they're supposed to be doing when. So they start experimenting when it would do them a lot better to just get on with it sometimes. And then other times when it would be better for them to be experimenting, they're trying to get on with it. And that's the great thing about this. Oops, no, we don't want that. About this automatic music machine is that you know what you're supposed to be doing, because I'm in done. Yeah, and I know this isn't done, because I've kind of had to go backwards with it a bit, but actually, theoretically, this should be over here right now in Discover, because I'm moving it back, but I'm not going to, because I'm just not. But because it's kind of, I've got kind of sick of this track, and I've been kind of struggling with it, and I'm overcoming a problem. I just need to get as fast as possible. I need to get into momentum with it, and not kind of just be faffing around. Otherwise, it's just going to end up on the it's just not going to get done. And I really like what this thing is. I want to release it, so. As you might notice, because I don't really tend to use a lot of this stuff, I haven't found. I think I might have to use a preset splurge technique in a minute, and just go for something. Dusty Ganja, right? I'm going to go with this kit even before listening to it. I'm not going to listen to any other kits. I'm just going to use something from this and make it work. Okay. A Dusty Ganja. Dusty Ganja. Right. Oh, well that's good, because I was actually wanted one of those. Thank you, Dusty Ganja. Even though your ganja is dusty, I don't know if you can hear that through there. By the way, Matthew, don't worry about distracting me. Goodness me. That's why we're here. We're here to have a conversation and for us to interact. We're not here, these aren't the only sessions that I'm doing. Yeah, I'm specifically recording live stream sessions to have conversations with people and help them and kind of that kind of thing. So please feel free to say whatever you want and ask any questions you want. And if I'm focused on something else, I'll focus, so don't worry about it. You're more than welcome, my friend. What have you got else have you got for me? Dusty Ganja? Whoa. So what I'm looking to do here, and I'm not immediately achieving it, and I doubt I will achieve it in the next half an hour, but eventually what I'm looking to do is to be able to create a kind of rhythm that fulfills two functions, really. One, well, not that fulfills two functions, that has two features to it. One, I can sing it, yeah. So I can sort of go like that. Can like sort of some kind of really bad, scat singer, yeah. So that that kind of thing, right? And maybe I should get my looper out. No, I wouldn't subject you to that. But anyway, so that I can sing it, yeah. So it's singable, but also that it relates to, it points to the thing, which is the bass line, yeah. Okay, that's the goal I'm shooting for with what I'm doing right now. Okay, because that will make as James said, quite rightly said earlier, that there's something that is not hooky enough about it, and I totally agree with him. And his solution, which is a solution, but it's the one that I've kind of already rejected, is to actually come up with a hook. But I don't want to do that, because that's not what this track is about. What I want to do is make what there is more hooky, which is what I'm doing here. And how you do that is you create a kind of little tapestry, if you like, or a collage is probably more accurate, of answering phrases that you can sing, but which relate to the thing, which in this case is this part. So. Okay. Something like that. Sounds like an acid version of Super Mario. How interesting. Why, thank you. Asno, I think. Oh. Now there's an idea. Yeah, no, it's all right. I know it's a compliment. I love Super Mario. I got really into it at one point, and the music's great too. So, all right, yeah, I don't want to do that, do I? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so what's going on now, this is always what happens when I do this kind of thing, is that you end up putting in too much, as I said. So for instance, this is repeating too often. Yeah, so that one's okay. Because if you listen to how these parts are talking to each other. Alright, where you gone? 999, where are you? Hello? Are you there? There you are. Okay. So if we hear here, we've got the boom. Dusty Ganja is hitting us with the bass, and then this comes here. Yeah, so it goes. Boom. And then I think we don't want that again there. Yeah. Boom. I think it's superfluous to requirements. So let's just do that half as much. And one of the really, now we're entering into the area of how to make things that are very repetitive less repetitive. Okay, so here's something to think about. All right, now this bass part now, okay, isn't actually that repetitive, because I mean, how often does it repeat? So it repeats. How long is that? So it's an 8-bar pattern. Okay, so that's not that repetitive. It's not like 1-bar pattern or a 4-bar pattern. And what's more, because I recorded it in live on this thing with me going like that, it makes it even less repetitive, because you know I'm changing things about the sound. Okay, but let's just pretend it was a 1-bar pattern. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to. Here comes a little lesson. Okay, so how to make very repetitive things sound less repetitive by Mike Monday. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these things over here. Put that there. Did that work? No, it so didn't work. It was embarrassing. Let's start again. Copy that. Let's put you over here. Yep. And then let's take this bass line as well. Move you over here. Yep. Okay. Sorry, this is just in order to do the little lesson. It's going to sound a bit weird because you're not meant to record. Alright, anyway, it's fine. And then let's just have the beat. Okay. Okay. Okay, unusual situation going on there. So we've got this now. This is a very repetitive, bass line. But let's make it even more repetitive. Now it sounds a bit weird because the bass line here. But we've got a 1-bar. A 1-bar bass line and a 1 bar beat. Yeah. So here we go. Yeah. Now, if I add this one part in there, so it's repeating every bar at the moment, right? If I do this, yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a better one because it's a bit weird. Okay, so how to make a repetitive part, very repetitive bit, not sound repetitive. Okay, so now I've just created a 1 bar bass line here and a 1 bar beat. So this, when you listen to this, like this, it sounds exactly the same. So I'm repeating around 1 bar. It sounds exactly the same as when I do that. It's the same thing. Now, if I add this now every 4 bars, I've now got a 4 bar pattern. Yeah, make sense? In fact, let's do it a different way. If I add this every 2 bars, I've now got a 2 bar pattern. Oh, that's what's going on. There it is. The pattern's in the 909. I found what was going on. Spinning wheel of doom. Right, there we go. Yes, go away. Preset. Okay. That was what was creating the problem. Okay. So if I add this every 2 bars, I've now got a 2 bar pattern rather than a 1 bar pattern. Yeah. Yeah. But it's basically the same thing. Like to the uninitiated, shall we say, it's basically the same thing. It sounds like the same thing. Not much has changed. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Yeah. So now it's repeating every 2 bars. If I then add this in every 4 bars, it's now repeating every 4 bars. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? But it's one of those obvious things that when I explain it to you, it's super obvious. But a lot of people probably aren't aware of how this works. Yeah. So then, and this is going at 2 bars 2 as well. Actually, no. So okay. So here's a good example. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to press J, not M. Yeah. So here, in this part, I've got this going here, yeah, in bar 2. I've got this, which is a different thing, in bar 4. This in bar 2, and this in bar 4. Is that the same as that? It is. But if I change this, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly, but if I change this bar here in some way, yeah, let's try this. I mean, that's probably not going to make that much of a difference because it's quite quiet. Let's try something like, oops. Let's try something like this. Oh. What's going on? Oh, that's what's going on. Let's try, I don't know, something like that, okay? This might not work, yeah? But simply by adding that thing there, yeah, I've now turned this into an 8 bar pattern. Even though it's basically the same. Does that make sense? Yep. So now it's an 8-bar pattern. So we've got the same 1-bar baseline and basic beat going on, and you can go on doing this for forever, right? So let's just say let's make it into a 16-bar pattern. And obviously, there does come a point at which you no longer perceive that it's the same thing, if you like. And what does it do there? Okay. Yeah. But if I was to go like this, and this might not work, but I'm just doing it in principle, now we have a 16-bar pattern out of the same basic line. Oh, except I forgot to copy the bass line over. Yeah. So start again. Yep, so that's now a 16-bar pattern. Now, obviously, there's not much that is changing, and it's right at the end of each 8-bar, so it sounds more repetitive. So if I was to put these, I mean, I don't know, I'm just making it up here, yeah? This isn't what I would do. I'd have to experiment with it, because they want to be answering, and you want to be able to sing it, and all those kinds of things as well. But essentially, if I was to put them earlier on, then you would perceive it kind of differently, and you can play around with it, so you can kind of extend a very short loop. I mean, it sounds the same because the main part is the same, but just by adding these little things, you can actually extend the length of the loop and make it more kind of interesting, particularly if the parts that when the parts that you put in are answering each other. Yeah, because you're kind of asking a question, and when you ask a question, people are waiting for an answer, if you like. So here endeth the lesson, and I'm just going to go back to here and finish up, because I really need to stop soon. I'm just going to finish up and bounce something out. So I don't quite know how I'm going to do this. Let's listen. Oh, I seem to have another 909 going on. Dusty Ganja seems to be in evidence, right? 909. Oh, it takes a very long time now, it's not there. Where else have I got 999? Is it there? Yes. Why do they do that? Why do they set it so that the default is to be playing a pattern? Like, hello? I mean, maybe that's what the original... I mean, I had a 909. I can't remember. I don't remember turning it on and there always being a pattern. But anyway, even if it was, like, if that's what the original 909 did, it's like... That just doesn't make sense. Don't make it so I always have to turn off the pattern and then have, like, wondering what is going on. Just don't do that. I mean, I love you, Roland. I love you dearly, but... Anyway. Okay. Oh, there goes my 2-year-old. I don't know if you heard him. In the house. George in the house. Yeah, so it feels like there needs to be something in there now. I'm just going to do that because it was something that I did that I thought, yes. Well, my arms started doing dad dancing. Whoop. So something I was thinking about doing on these live streams, not all of them, but some of them, is actually playing a little game. So the first iteration of it would be I would set up a Dropbox folder, which other people can add files to, and then I would play this game where I would just randomly choose one of the sound files that somebody sent. I'd have to get, and I'd never listened to them before, so I'd have to want somebody on the team to actually go through them to make sure that nobody is sending me like really like abusive stuff or anything like that, because there are some pretty interesting people out there. Right, so getting a Dropbox folder and just getting people like you to put like a sound file in there of some kind, and basically using that sound file as the beginning of a tune and just starting a tune with just a random thing that somebody sends. So that was one thing. And then the other thing I was thinking of doing at some point is actually getting people to make suggestions, because I know people are doing it anyway, but actually be taking suggestions of what to do next with pieces of music. And I would probably I'd have to do it with pieces of music that I do it, this is how I am making that piece of music, rather than the ones that I'm kind of, as an artist, that I'm expressing my artistic creativity. It's almost like this is like a little project that we're doing. So, it would be like a live stream, the first ever piece of music created with a live stream audience. So I don't know. Do you reckon that would be a good idea? I think it'd be quite fun. Okay, yeah. Okay. That one wants to be different. I'm going to listen to the pattern. And just one final thing. Yeah, I have thought about the royalty aspect of that, and obviously, in writing, writing the tune with people in the comments, don't think that would be too much of a problem, because I'd be actually writing the parts, and you'd be commenting on what to do with those parts, and I'd be taking things from, I'd be going, oh yeah, okay, let's try that, and then I'd actually be doing it. So it's not like, it's not like you'd be actually writing it. I'd still be writing it. And in terms of the actual the Dropbox idea, that would probably have to be some kind of, I don't exactly know how that would work. I haven't figured that out yet, but I still think it would be fun. I mean, to be honest with you, probably with the Dropbox one, probably the tunes wouldn't make it. The ideas wouldn't make it. I don't know. So if they did, I guess I'd have to get in touch and add a writer on it or something. Anyway. No, but to be honest with you, Matthew, it's true. Like if somebody is contributing actual musical ideas, then they are entitled, and I hate that word, but they are entitled to a royalty. Yeah, they are due a royalty, and that would have to be figured out in the Dropbox idea, because they'd actually be giving me well, it depends on what the sound file was. If it was just like a recorded sound of a bus going past, that would kind of be different, I think. But I don't actually know what it would be legally. But anyway, but if it was like a melody or like a vocal, then they would actually be right if I did release it to be named as a writer on there. I think that's totally fair enough. More than fair enough. It's required. So. All right, so that's cool for now. There's just one last thing I wanted to do. So I wanted to put a slightly different variation on this one at the end. And again, just to be clear, what I'm doing here isn't what it is going to be, because there's too much going on, and it's too it's too this that. Yeah, but it will coalesce out of these parts. Okay. Hello, where are you? Ganja. Dusty Ganja, you left me. You've gone to smoke. It's obviously gone for a joint. It's not reliable, are you? Maybe no minty. That's the problem. I apologise. I know what I'm going to do, because this is going to. I can't be bothered. I'm just going to copy that over and just do a little bit of a change here. Okay. Now, obviously, the question is going to be, like, how am I going to bring these things in? When am I going to bring them in? And all of that kind of stuff. But I don't need to figure that out now, because I'm running out of time. I've got to go upstairs and say hello to the fam, and hang out with them for a bit. So all I really need to do at this stage is create an arrangement, and I'll do it like with the air quotes, because it doesn't need to be right in any shape or form. All I need to do, I'm basically making it so that future Mike has something to listen to and can have an opinion on. Yeah. So an absolutely core rule of my approach that is like, it's almost like I'm going to get a tablet of stone, and like I'm going to hew that tablet of stone with a chisel and a hammer. I'm going to write this on because it's that important, is that you always export what you have done at the end of every session, or record what you have done at the end of it, always. Like, you just never don't do that. Okay, so you have to. I can't just leave it like this, go away, save it, and go, oh, just come back to this. So that's a really not a good thing to do at all. Okay, so I need to create something, an arrangement, but it's not going to be an arrangement because it's not going to be right. I mean, it is going to be an arrangement, but it's not like something that I think is right. Just something for me to have an opinion about later. Okay, because then I can use my what I call the editor after the session in a few days' time when I get to this track again, to actually listen to what I've done and have a more objective view of what I need to do next. Yeah, what do I need to remove? How do I need to change this? Okay, so what I'm probably going to do, so that's all I'm doing now. Yeah, I'm not making this right. I can even probably do it without even listening to it, but I might just listen to it anyway because I feel like it. So let's just have that starting there. I might keep that meter guide in. And what I'm going to do is actually mute these parts there. So these were the original ones, and they don't really add very much, but as they were there before, and they weren't like upsetting me massively, I'm just going to have them coming in later. And I'm just going to sling these things in. Boo. How am I going to do it? I might just sling them in like that. Let's just keep it simple. All right. Let's just have a little listen. Why don't we? You can see it's a bit hectic. That's okay. Okay. One thing. Let's move that. Hello, Manuel. I'm just about to finish. Okay, so basically what's going to happen with these parts is they're going to come in more slowly than this. So I might as well just do it. In fact, what was the order I put them in? That's probably a good thing. In fact, apart from that one, so put that one in. Oh, I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. So I didn't put that in. So get rid of that. Oh yeah. Okay. Again. So I've cut that down even more now because we've got the answering phrases, the new answering phrases. Yeah. That's more like it. Okay, that's the new. There's a new percussion coming in there. Who wants to come in there? All right, so I'm going to bring the new percussion in there. When I say the new percussion, I mean the old percussion. Obviously, what else would I mean? Duh. Right, and let's just cut you down a bit, and I'll just leave that little hard balance beat going over the break because I'm a little bit crazy. Oh, yes, I am. And I'm just going to do the same thing here as I did there. Why not? Why not, eh? Why not? Let's push the boat out for a change. Actually, no, let's do it the other way around. Let's do that. Boom! Visually arranging is a wonderful thing. Oops. Like when I say visually arranging without listening is a wonderful thing in order to encourage the happening of happy accidents. So this is another little thing that I use a lot all the time, is I'll just, particularly when I'm running out of time, is just put stuff in. Not exactly randomly, but kind of randomly without worrying about it too much, not listening to everything. So I'm just going to go, oops, no, that's not what I'm talking about. This kind of thing. And there we have it. Save you. And just to show you that I am actually bouncing this out, because I definitely am. As I said, written on a tablet of stone, or will be at some point. Fantastic. And oh, hang on, what's going on there? It's okay. So there we go. Another, that was a mammoth session, nearly 3-hour live stream. But I don't know whether I'll do one tomorrow. I mean, this was an unscheduled one today, but I just did it because I just felt like waking up and doing one, so I did. So I'm not sure I'll do one tomorrow, but I'm definitely back next week, 4 times a week, at 5 o'clock at my time in the morning on my Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I'm in Sydney, Australia. So that will be Monday evening or after Monday evening if you're in the UK or Europe, and Monday afternoon if you're in North America. Yeah, and that's Monday and Tuesday if you're in those countries. It's very confusing because I'm a day ahead of most other people being in Australia. And then on Thursdays and Fridays I do it in my afternoon, which is early in the morning, 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. in UK and Europe respectively. And when I say Europe, I mean Central Europe, you know. And 2 p.m. here on Thursdays and Fridays, and I'm not exactly sure when it is in America. In the evening anyway, evening time. So yeah, I will see you either tomorrow, possibly, or if not, next week. I hope you found this valuable. I hope you've had a bit of fun. I hope I haven't deafened you with my terrible music. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sanitized, and onwards and upwards.